in court. The Michael Flynn case takes another turn in appeals court. Acting U.S. Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall suggests Attorney General William Barr has secret reasons for the Justice Department seeking to dismiss Flynn's case. Joining me right now is Georgia Congressman and member of the House Judiciary Committee, Doug Collins. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for being here. Let's talk first Flynn, because I think even without things we may not know about that Bill Barr may be reviewing, you believe that the case against Flynn was made up anyway, based on an ambush of an interview. Tell me about this trial, this hearing that took place yesterday.
Well, it's just beginning to be more and more confusing to the American people. Why is this still going on? Why has Judge Sullivan decided to put himself at the middle of this situation and continue to drag this out? The reasons the Department of Justice have articulated before the court were sufficient and valid to have this case done away with and be done with. Instead, Judge Sullivan continues this process of wanting to become the prosecutor, the defense attorney, the judge. He's bringing in all kinds of aspects and then continually basically wasting the American people's time on this issue that should have been solved. The problem is it now becomes more and more evident that there's a political agenda, it seems like, with Sullivan to actually get at the Department of Justice or maybe at the president or whoever, because there's no real reason to keep this going on. Even with the judges yesterday saying, well, doesn't he have, the reason to think about stuff? Yes, he does, but it's to follow the law and to follow it as it's put out before him. And this is just becoming more and more of a circus, and Judge Sullivan's at the middle of it. I think he enjoys it at this point, Maria, and it's sad because Michael Flynn's life was ruined by these people.
Yep. And we know now that they didn't have anything on any, coordination or collusion with Russia, even as late as January 17, right before the president was about to get inaugurated. So they came up with the Logan Act, which has never been used ever. So it's all the evidence leads to exactly that. Let me ask you about these two exclusives that I had on Sunday Morning Futures this Sunday. First off, with Stephen Schrage breaking his silence to me. Here's what he told me about all of that money that his boss, Stefan Halper, got from the Office of Net Assessments. Informant Stefan Halper made $1 million over a couple of years. One payment was $411,000 just a couple of months before the wiretap was secured to spy on Carter Page. Here's Stephen Schrage from Sunday. The Office of Net Assessments awarded him 4 contracts between May of 2012 and September of 2016. Right. In September of 15, he was awarded a contract valued at $245,000 to study Russia and China. Characterize that. Are these the kind of money, these the kind of paychecks you get for doing a report on China and Russia? And isn't it interesting that just months later, after he was awarded another contract of $411,000, then the wiretapping of Carter Page started?
Yes, I have never heard of that in an academic setting, providing that much compensation for these types of reports. One thing I will say that was quite unusual was even after Carter Page had been kind of smeared improperly as a quote-unquote Russian spy, Stefan Halper would profusely thank me for introducing him to him, and I never really understood that. But once I saw these massive payments kind of corresponding to when he was, surveilling Page and Papadopoulos, which I learned about in 2018, there was obviously could be a connection there. There's a theory about how that played out. The key part, and I think the real smoking gun in all this, is, all these tentacles lead back to this small group, including Stefan Halper at the center of Spygate, Christopher Steele at the center of Russiagate, Stefan Halper's FBI handler. None of the Senate has subpoenaed these or called these people to talk in 4 years. I think that's the real smoking gun.
So what about that, Congressman? Are these the informants that were paid to set up Trump campaign people, and are they protected?
Well, it's really interesting, Maria. I mean, thank goodness for you, because you've kept on this, and we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been on your show. There's been Jim Jordan, myself, Senator Johnson, and others. That if we had not, think about this, when they wanted us to stop talking about all this, they just wanted to put it in a box and put it away as if it never happened. But every time we continually peel back an onion, just another layer comes off. And these questions that you asked Sunday, and the information we're getting here just reveals how deep this is and why the Senate needs to get at the bottom of this. And yes, this web is getting constricted more and more, that we see that there was a concerted effort between the Spygate, between the issues with Carter Page, going back even, as we just mentioned just a few moments ago, to the Flynn case. These are all interconnected. And if the American people in the years to come are going to see how this was a corruption of the Department of Justice with Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe and the others and Peter Strzok and others who set this up because they did not like President Trump. Let's just be honest about this. And that's why I'm so ready to get this out there and going. It's just that's been a setup from day one.
And now Senator Lindsey Graham, is demanding that FBI Director Christopher Wray reveal the names of the FBI staffers that briefed senators on the Steele dossier. Graham told me on Sunday Morning Futures that the FBI deceived the Senate Intel Committee. So let's talk about that. I have the redacted paperwork right here in front of me, and basically this was the report to the Senate Intel Committee, and this was February 2018, Congressman, okay? So we know that in January of 2017, the subsource told the FBI the dossier was garbage. We made it up. It was hearsay. We were just joking around in a bar. A year later, a full year later, February 2018, the Senate, led by Andrew McCabe, is what I'm told the FBI, rather, led by Andrew McCabe, I'm told the Senate everything was kosher, that, yeah, we have a trusted source on the dossier. So is lying to the Senate a crime?
Yes, you can't lie to you can't just do this. I'm going to take it a step further than Senator Graham, though. I'm going to go straight at Chris Wray. I've talked about this on your show. I've talked about it on many shows. I've reached my limit with Director Wray. It's time for him to resign. It's time for him to move on. Let's let other people take the reins here. Because when we see this kind of, either he was willfully not knowing what was going on, he was intentionally leading the Senate, or there was actually a cover-up going on, and there's a part of this. This has just been continuing on. The Horowitz report came out, the Inspector General, they said they implemented all the, quote, recommendations, but yet we never saw people move. We never saw a real move to go beyond that. So, Maria, I think what we're seeing here is again, this is an unveiling of what was a very dark time in the FBI, a very dark time that Bill Barr is shining a bright light on. And now, though, with Christopher Wray, it looks like I think he just needs to move on. It's time for him to resign, let somebody else come in so that we can have clearance and clarity on what actually happened and what's actually being done to make sure this never happens again, whether it's lying to Congress or lying to the American people, or better yet, as Comey and the rest of them were doing, actually taking actions into their own hands to affect an election almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, and by the way, there's also been a fair amount of holding back documents. I've spoken with many insiders who've said it's pulling teeth getting documents from Christopher Wray. They're sitting on the FBI documents. All of this stuff should have been out in the Mueller report. All of this stuff should have been out in the Horowitz report 2 years ago. So, I mean, we're just getting this stuff unearthed now, Congressman. We, of course, will keep on it. It's great to see you, sir. Thank you so much.
You take care,
Doug
Maria.
Collins joining us this morning.